In the last 24 hours, the figures actually are looking quite good at the moment. We've had 733 new infections across Greece. That is down from last report where we had 1,103. So that brings a grand total at the moment of 160,213 new infections across the country. Now, 8 of those were identified after checks into the country, and that was also last time when I reported, which gave us 12. Now, when we're going to go into the national stats now, our stats are probably going to be keeping up with the way things are on the ground, and I'll explain that to you at the moment. Anyway, the national stats for yesterday was there was one new case in Corfu, and the national stats is here on Zakynthos. Right, let's go through what went on yesterday in regards to infections here in Zakynthos. Now, this morning, yesterday, I actually reported that sorry, I'll say that again. Yesterday, when I was writing the news last night, at the time, we had 3 new cases in Zakynthos. That's what the local press was telling us here. The first one was a 34-year-old woman who went to Zakynthos General Hospital in the hours of Sunday morning. She had mild symptoms, tested positive, and she was a confirmed case, and she was then sent home to quarantine for 14 days. The second case we had during the day was that of a 14-year-old student. She's from the number 1 high school. She went to the hospital with mild symptoms, did a molecular test, found out that she was positive, and tracking of her contacts actually started yesterday, and she was sent home for 14 days isolation in her home. Anyway, also according to information, the department of the 3rd grade, the first high school where she attended, is expected to be closed, okay, while the Directorate of Secondary Education has carried out all necessary measures to disinfect the building. Right, then later in the day, a 13-year-old girl was also diagnosed with coronavirus, a 3rd infection from the Zakynthos, and she was from the 3rd high school of Zakynthos, and according to the Directorate of Secondary Education, again, the department or the year that she was in will remain closed and will be disinfected as well as all areas of the school. Anyway, the student had mild symptoms, which will stay, and she will stay under home quarantine for 14 days, and they've also obviously started tracking her contacts. Now, another case of coronavirus was detected at the 6th elementary school as a schoolgirl was diagnosed with coronavirus, and this morning, an 11-year-old girl, I think this is the same girl, has got mild symptoms and will be quarantined at home, and they're already checking her contacts. Now, the school that she attended will be closed for a week, while classes of her students who are positive will be closed for more. So at the moment, by my reckoning, we've had 4 actual infections. So I think our number tomorrow, when we do the numbers today, that will leave out. So, but the grand total for us here on Zakynthos at the moment has been, since the pandemic started, we've had 71 positive cases since the, so I'll say that again, since the beginning of the year, Zakynthos has had 71 positive cases, and just this month in February, we've had 35 positive cases on the island. So again, that's another reason why the island at the moment is in the red. Now, going back to the national statistics in regards deaths across Greece, they are down as well. Yet the other day I reported we had 29 deaths. At the moment, Greece has had 21 further new deaths. That bringing the grand total of deaths to 5,972. The average age of those people, 79 years of age, 95% of them having underlying health problems or were over the age of 70. And once again, just to put that into perspective, The average death rate in 2019 a day in Greece was around about 329 people. And the fatalities, genders, 3,511 male and also 2,461 females as well. So critical cases, I'm afraid the critical cases in the hospital, they are up. Last time I reported to you, we had 249 critical cases in ICUs across the country. At the moment, the critical cases is now 262. So that's a bit of a jump, actually. 189 of them are male, 73 are female. The average age of those are 68 years of age, and 86% of those have underlying health problems or issues and are over the age of 70. So the ICU beds are actually up. Now, another story this morning, that was a bit of a late press story that came in, which is being reported in Greece. I'll give you the gist of the story and I'll give you my feelings towards it at the end. A UK study involving 2,000 participants suggests that the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine offers minimal protection against mild and moderate illness from the South African variant of the coronavirus 19, but should still protect against severe symptoms, hospitalisation and death. However, Sarah Gilbert, the Oxford lead vaccine developer, stated that a modified vaccine should be available by the autumn to combat the South African variant. Now, the South African variant has been detected here in Greece, but only one case has been detected, and I was checking that this morning, and that was on the 1st of February that I reported that. Whereas the British variant, we've had, I think, 107 cases of that. Anyway, in South Africa, the use of the vaccine obviously has been put on hold until further data is available. About 90% of cases in the country involve the so-called South African virus mutation. Now, Greece did confirm, as I said last week, that there was one case of the South African variant that was detected in the country. However, there's also 107 cases of the British mutation which were detected, and 11 of those were in Patra. Now, on checking this story this morning, there is no case for alarm. From looking at other experts who've been looking at the trial, they said the trial was actually done with a very small number of people. There were only 2,000 people involved in the trial, and only 42 of those people actually had COVID-19, all right? And the trial, as they said, was not peer-reviewed either. And a gentleman by the name of Professor Hugh Pennington said it's no cause for alarm, as like flu vaccines, the Oxford AstraZeneca will need routinely to be tweaked. All right, so at the moment, the vaccine in his eyes, and he's an 82-year-old man who's worked in the field of vaccines and stuff and diseases for many years, says he's not unduly worried. Yes, you have to tweak these vaccines like the same as we were tweaking the flu virus. And somebody actually did raise a good point this morning. We're not hearing a lot about flu at the moment from anywhere. All we're hearing is COVID, 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 nothing from flu. And again, at one point, they reckoning that more people were dying of flu than probably were dying of the actual virus itself. So once again, be keeping an eye on that story as well. Right, Greek Prime Minister, hey. Right now, the Greek Prime Minister, Mr. Mitsotakis, he's going to be heading off to Cyprus and Israel today to discuss bilateral ties and developments in the Eastern Mediterranean. He's going to be visiting Nicosia for talks with President Nikos Astrolidis, and they're taking place ahead of the informal summit on the Cyprus issue that is due to restart in May. Now, they've been having talks in Cyprus for getting on for nearly 40 years. There's always, when I was over there, I used to live there, I used to hear every month or so we're having fresh negotiations between the Turks and the Greeks, blah, blah, blah. And it seems to be an ongoing thing. But anyway, he's going over again for more talks with the Greeks ahead of the informal talks, which had been kind of stopped because of the situation in the Western Mediterranean with Turkey and with Russia. And so we'll see how that plays out. Anyway, in a statement, the Cypriot government spokesman, Kypros Kousi, said the aim of the visit is to further the further coordination of Nicosia and Athens in the view of informal five-party conference that the United Nations Secretary General intends to convene. Now, Mitsotakis will then travel to Israel, where he'll then meet the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to discuss closer defence cooperation between the two countries. And this includes the maintenance of three C-130s. They're like Hercules jets. Hercules aircraft for refueling, and Greek interest in the Spike Nenlos anti-tank missile system, which I think Israel actually produces. Anyway, you've got to remember Israel and Greece seem to be getting a very cozy relationship going at the moment. They are also being looked upon as one of our nations for tourism as well. We get a lot of Israelis come to visit Greece, and Zakynthos itself has a big affiliation with Greece from the Second World War with the Holocaust, where all the Jews here were saved from extermination. No Jew from Zakynthos ended up at any of the death camps. That's something that Greece, Zakynthos in particular, is very, very proud of. However, Netanyahu, I'm afraid, not one of the nicest characters at the moment. Remember, he was done for fraud and corruption in Israel, got found guilty, and is still Prime Minister. How does that work out? Well, anyway, there we go. And by the way, I'm not being anti-Semitic, all right, when I say that. It's just that is what you see. And when you call out Israel, sometimes you have to be very careful what you say, all right? Anyway. Now, the other interesting thing is as well, still no mention of the Greek Prime Minister's controversial Saturday lunch, if you remember, with members of the Greek Parliament and some other 30 people amid strict lockdown measures on the pandemic. Mitsotakis visited the remote island of Ithaca and Furlough in the eastern Aegean Sea on Saturday in order to check on the progress of the vaccine programme. He was surrounded by elderly locals in Farini, with whom he exchanged warm fist greetings and listened to local songs. This is the words of the Greek press. Anyway, the local branch of the opposition party, Syriza, I had to laugh at this, they issued a statement expressing hope that the visit by the Prime Minister to that island, no one actually gets coronavirus there because those locations have either had none or very, very low coronavirus infections. In fact, there's only been 4 cases in Ithaca since the whole thing started in March 2020, and there's been none on Farini as well. So anyway, the visit by Mitsotakis to the two islands was criticised in the morning for having posted pictures of his trip on Instagram account, with many noting that the trip was certainly not a necessary trip. There we go. But then again, he's Prime Minister, one rule for him and another rule for us. And I should think waltzing off to Nicosia and off to Israel as well. Well, necessary trips, Zoom conferencing. Everybody else is doing the Zoom conferencing. But I've got to be honest, there's nothing like going to a place in reality, is there? Oh, how the other half live. Anyway, other criticised mainstream medias, including the state broadcaster. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. None of the mainstream media here in Greece has said anything about the luncheon on the Saturday afternoon with some people reckon it's as high as 50 people at the moment. And nothing's been said about that by the mainstream Greek media, including ERT, which is the... what you got to remember is the Greek government does control a lot of the media here. And if it doesn't want to say anything, it won't. And you may remember when Mitsotakis was caught having selfies taken while walking in woods close, 42 kilometres from where he lived. Again, it took about a week and a half to 2 weeks before any mention was made officially and before any kind of apology was made. All right. So again, the Greek media will censor and stifle out bad news, reference the government if it wants to, the same as everywhere else does as well. But anyway, there you go. And another thing that they didn't show on the Greek media after his little visit to the two islands was the demonstrations by local workers in the hospital and by the local doctors who were also protesting. One, they needed more money invested in their hospitals, and 2, they also needed more help and resources as well. So again, those stories were not covered in the Greek media here in the mainstream as well. So we'll see how that story plays out over the next few days as well. Right. Intensive checks were also carried out on the Ionian Island by the police departments. So they've been busy over the weekend doing people. And at the moment, the only information I've managed to get from that is at the moment there were 22 violations in Corfu. There were 10 in Zakynthos, there were 3 in Kefalonia, and these were all to do with movement restrictions, with people probably not booking out correctly, or they were out after the curfew. Don't forget, we still have a curfew at 6 o'clock at night through till 5 o'clock in the morning. And all those people were stopped and fined, and they were getting fines of €300 for that, for being out after the curfew. Now, also violations for the non-wearing of masks across the Ionian. There were 20 violations in Corfu. There were 3 in Zakynthos, 2 in Kefalonia, and 1 in Macardo. And again, all of those people were fined €300 for not wearing masks. Right, and finally story. I don't really have an and finally story today, this morning, except we're going to get some bad weather on the way, and that's probably about it. And already you've seen in my first part of my broadcast, the weather this morning is looking very grim at the moment. It is a bit windy. I'm not sure if you're picking that up on the mic at the moment as I talk to you. But yeah, it is looking pretty grim today. And the cats have been in funny mood as well with it. They don't like it when the weather's like this. They like it when it's sunny and they're out running about. Right, let's just have a quick who's tuning in this morning. I saw a lot of comments from people. Rachel Hanson is watching. Lovely to... I know you came with me earlier this morning. Thank you for sticking by. Andy Spencer, he's probably out on the road somewhere driving. Nice to see you. Raffridge buddy, tuning in. Andrew the Fridge Watkins is also tuning in. Amanda Gregory, where's your weather forecast, Amanda? Oh, what's the weather for today? Anyway, she'll probably rush it away now to come up with the weather forecast. Anyway, Amanda Gregory's watching. Nice to see you. Not a day for washing, that is for sure. Laura Williams is also... Oh, hello, Laura. Nice to see you tuning in as well. I know you're probably in lockdown at the moment in London somewhere, waiting to be released. Anyway, nice to see you there. Chick Ballantyne is watching. Raffridge buddy. Gary Eden, another Raffridge buddy. Wiggy Winstanley over there in Cyprus. Nice to have you tuning in, fella. I hope you're faring well. And he did say to me the other day the weather was nice in Cyprus. Oh, and enjoy your visit from the president of Greece as he comes over. The Cypriots, I get the feeling, Greece is a necessary evil, all right? That's the sort of feeling I get a lot of times. But anyway... Nice to see you, Wiggy, looking over there. Linda and Gary are also tuning in from Essex. Lovely to have you with us as well. Mike Glatney from round the corner, he's tuning in as well. Nice to see you. Wiggy says, hi, Ginge. Amanda says, good morning. Nice big bright emoji there. Thank you. I got Amanda's weather forecast. She says, hold on to your hat today, windy with some rain. Thank you very much for that. The weather is now officialised. There we go. Paul Green is watching over there in Sillery. Nice to see you. Julian Ansel is watching as well. Denise Williams is watching. Joe Corns, ex-Raffridge buddy. Nice to see you tuning in, Joe. Hope life is good for you, fella. Paul Bruffy over there in Poros is tuning in. I'm not sure what the weather's like where you are, but if it's windy here, it must have been windy where you are. And I hope your yacht's all right, mate. I just thought I'd put that in as well for you. So anyway, you take care, fella. Raffridge buddy as well. Melanie Thompson is watching. Nice to have you. Tim Crystal says, morning, buddy. Also as well, Adi Pratt is watching as well. Nice to see you there. Tony Dodgy Barrow, I love that Tony Dodgy Barrow, he's good there, nice to have you. Teresa Ann Huggett says, good morning to you both, well done for preserving with the broadcast, you are a true professional. Thank you very much for that, Teresa. I do my best, all right, I do what I can do, all right, and also I hate to see injustice, I hate to see bullshit, all right, say it like it is. Don't treat us all like idiots. I'm talking to the politicians. Tell the truth. Always. The truth will come out at the end of the day. That is for sure. And again, it's the way they kind of set you up with news, the way that they trickle feed information. So when they do something, it's no real surprise. It was, well, we were warning you it was coming, blah, blah, blah. But they dress it up in a load of bullshit before you get the reality of it. And again, some of the news reporting has been absolutely diabolical in all areas about what is going on. So, as I say, I cross-check, I don't listen to rumour, I try and find the facts, I go to numerous various sources here in Greece, in languages of Greek and also in English, and also looking outside in to see how things are reported and the views from outside looking in, which sometimes can be very different and sometimes could be kind of misjudged as well until you get the story from inside as well. But I'll keep doing that for as long as I'm allowed to do it. I know I've ruffled a few feathers on this island, and you know what? I don't give a damn, because some of these people are talking absolute crap, trying to frighten you, trying to think they know more, and they probably don't know any more than I know, all right? But it's the way it's presented, all right? So you know who you are, you characters, and a lot of them, there's a hidden agenda there of exploitation of people, vulnerable, and also just trying to basically make some money, all right? But I'm not going to go there. But they know who they are, and they know who I'm talking to as well, all right? Anyway, Matthew Long is watching. Sharon Barker is watching as well. She says, morning from a very snowy Suffolk. Everywhere yesterday was snowy. Anyway, also morning Ginge, and also Christine Coldwell's looking in as well. Nice to see you tuning in, my lovely. I hope everything's good where you are in the pharmacy. Jane Antony is watching. Jean McFlorin, I think how you pronounce that, is watching as well. Sean Webb, Raf Reg buddy, looking in as well. Nice to see you. And Steve Hinkling is watching up there in Stoke-on-Trent, where they had snow yesterday, which was nice. And yeah, well, that's it for the broadcast for today. Can I just say thank you to those people who tuned in yesterday to my show on beachradio.co.uk, my Northern Soul show. In fact, I was really chuffed with the amount of people that were in the chat room yesterday, because the nice thing is when the show's going out, I can just sit in the chat room, chat away to people as they're tuning in. Thank you for those requests. They will go into the next show as well that I'll be recording later this week. And I'm also going to have a little memory to a guy called Nolan Porter, who passed away last week. Somebody gave me a heads up on Nolan Porter, great Northern Soul artist who toured the UK quite a few times. He passed away last week, and I will be a little memory to him going in. And also, don't forget Wednesday, my inspiration and request show. Once again, tune in for that. And also Friday, my other second live show from here, and also my dance anthem show on Beat Radio, which is on a Friday. My last anthem show is going to go up online today, and you can listen to that on Mixcloud and enjoy the music there, which is it's trance, dance, electro house. It's not what I do in the other shows, all right? So it's completely different and a complete different genre of music. Right. That's it from me. I'm going to go off now. I've got a bit of editing to do now to put the two halves together to get them up onto YouTube. Once again, please go onto YouTube, like and subscribe. All right. I'm just trying to get a few more people into that channel. It's a great area where I've collated all of the online broadcasts, and I can obviously cross-check information. I was using it this morning actually to cross-check the South African variant and the UK variant of when we first reported that here on Zakynthos and in Greece, and we've not had it here yet, so don't get carried away. It's not arrived. The British variant is in Patra, and that's our closest island at the moment, but we've not had any signs of it yet. All right, but anyway, I've gone there to take information so that I can obviously make sure that the information is correct. Right, that's it from me. I'll see you later on tomorrow with more news, hopefully, about what's going on here on the island. And you have a good one. I'll catch you later. Ta-ra.